everyone. My name is Ade Bukola Ajalo. I am a proud Boston native and the owner of BDY Consult. We're a small business and marketing agency, and we help small businesses break through the saturated market and help them reach their customers. I'm also an adjunct professor at the Northeastern University teaching marketing to the next brightest marketing minds. And I'm excited today to introduce you to our panelists who are going to introduce themselves. This is going to be a really great panel. You came here today because you want to learn about influencing, you want to learn about how to promote your business, and that's what we're going to discuss today.
Okay, I guess I'll start off then. My name is Stevana Blackman, but in the digital world I'm known as Stevana Black. I have been blogging for about 6-7 years. I do work in digital marketing full-time, and I work for a major grocery brand. I work for Stop & Shop in their marketing department. I've worked with many brands over the years, such as Google, Amazon, Disney. It's something I really enjoy. I also like giving back to, the Black community within Boston, really putting on for Black-owned businesses. And that's me.
I will say, Wanda's content is amazing. I literally go there like, what should I wear this week? Because she has some good style, so make sure y'all definitely follow her. All of their handles are on the screen.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Claudia Ann Philippe. I am the founder of Nail the Cocktail. I started Nail the Cocktail about almost 6 years ago now. So I've worked as a social media influencer with Fortune 500, doing brand deals with most of the liquor brands that you've probably hit up and picked up at the liquor store. And while we went into lockdown over the pandemic, I was able to turn my influence into a full-scale virtual bartending service. So now I work with a lot of other Fortune 500s to provide virtual bartending for their remote teams. So I'm excited to share with you my journey, how I got there, and hopefully be able to impart some tips on you. Thank you.
And don't let the beauty fool you. She is a beauty and a beast. Claudia is also a software engineer and a Black woman in tech. So definitely give it up for her, y'all.
All right, good morning everybody. My name is Herman Jean-Baptiste. I am a creative consultant and tastemaker based out of Boston. My business is called Success is My Cologne, which is a company that specializes in a bunch of beautiful things like voiceover work, which I've had the blessing of doing for the Boston Celtics for last year's playoff campaign, as well as Reebok. I also take pride in revamping people's personal image and just helping people become their best self. And so I'm really excited to just talk to you guys about some best practices and tell you how this decade-long journey has been for me.
Thank you, Herb. I've known Herb since I was a little kid on the 240 bus stop in Randolph, and I'll tell you this much, he's definitely a style icon, and I definitely take some tips from him. It's no coincidence that we literally have the same color on today. We didn't plan this, but definitely taking a note out of your book. And so I want to get started just because of time. We are going to have our panel questions, and then we're going to end off with some Q&A. So definitely ask our incredible panelists some questions. And I'm going to start off right away with, what is an influencer or a content creator, and how do you build Black wealth as an influencer?
I can take this one, but it's going to be from my lens, of course. To me, an influencer is somebody who is able to provide value in a digital space and has a consumer who keeps coming back to them for that value. That's very broad, but I think in order to be a successful influencer, you have to be able to define what that value is. So for me, I came into a space where, one, I'm a woman of color, which there aren't many of us in the alcohol industry, especially online. And two, I'm really, really good at making drinks. So people come to me to be able to, one, get recommendations that they trust with wholeheartedly, to know, where do I go out to get a drink? This is what I like, what should I drink? So people come to me and they're like, can you make my wedding signature cocktails? So that's the value that I provide. And I obviously inhabit a digital space, so like I said, providing value to your consumer and also just being able to really define what your value is.
That's dope. Can you answer, Claudia, how do you make money in this space? How do you build that wealth in this space?
There's a lot of different avenues that I make money in. So as a virtual bartender, influencer, all of that, when I first started off, I wasn't making any money. It was a lot of like getting invited to restaurants to help promote their product. In return, they let me eat and drink for free, and I talk about them on the internet. So I gained my audience's trust that way. The second I gained trust in an audience, the money started rolling in, right? Because brands were like, there's this internet influencer who talks about beverages, drinks, and stuff like that. She has an audience that loves her. We want to get to that audience. So brands started reaching out to me. We negotiate brand deals. And I've turned it into a business where now I do virtual bartending services online. So it's kind of a twofold business. But it all just kind of happened naturally. The bartending business kind of fell into my lap. But I think initially you really have to build that audience first in order to be able to make money, because the audience is who's going to back you in making money.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with a lot of the things that Claudia said. I know with the space that we're in, with TikTok, there's Instagram, Snapchat, there's so many different avenues when it comes to social media. A lot of people don't really know like what an influencer and a content creator is, because there are two totally different rounds. For instance, influencer, at least from my perspective, coming from a marketing standpoint, is an influencer is somebody who has influence on their niche. So, like for instance, Claudia knows her niche is cocktails. She knows the people that are coming to her page are coming to her because they want to see like, what's the best drink to make, how to make this drink, where should I be going in Boston to go try the best food, and where to go out to eat. For me, for instance, I'm a lifestyle creator, a lifestyle influencer, I will say, and I stepped into this by being a plus-size model. So a lot of people were coming to my page, being a woman of color, being Afro-Latina. They don't see a lot of people like me. They know it's hard to find clothing, so people were coming to me, and they were like, hey, where do you shop at? So I was letting them know, hey, you can find plus-size clothing here. So I was influencing my audience to go to these places, whereas content creators just create content freely. They're just telling you about things that they enjoy. They're not, usually it's not sponsored, whereas influencers usually are creating sponsored content backed by brands. The way I would say I made money in this space is, like I said, I did step into this as a plus-size model. So that did bring in some, outside income, but also with working with these brands, people wanted to see someone that represented them out there. So that's how I started making money there. It hasn't been easy, but it's definitely, afforded me to a lot of the things that I'm able to do now.
So you mentioned that content creation and influencing are two different things. So it sounds like everybody's a content creator. If you have a phone, if you post on Instagram, on Facebook, we all create content. But influencing is more of the business side of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just wanted to say you guys had some great answers. I'm gonna talk about with influencing, it's super important to understand how to leverage your audience and understand what are their needs, what do they want to do. One thing that I enjoy doing, especially in the corporate space, because I work in the banking space, understanding consumer insights and trends. What are some upcoming things that your audience is going to need that you can take advantage of before, that need presents itself, So if the summer is coming, you should know where to get, essentially the hoochie daddy shorts. So now you're able to leverage hey, I know where to get these. This is how you should style them. Ways that I've been able to create money in this business is I've been able to, in a natural way, connect with my audience, but also kind of target brands that I want to work with. And so if I know, a certain shoe is coming out, I'll purchase that shoe, style it up the way that I want to. And a lot of times these companies marketing teams will be like, hey, we love what you did. Can we send you 4 or 5 shoes to style this? And so I put my best foot forward, and then moving forward after that, a lot of times these companies, were able to create something where, we can negotiate money or negotiate me utilizing spaces to do activations or experiential things. So, again, it's not easy as my, cohorts have spoken, but I think that understanding how to pitch yourself, your needs and your wants, it helps you be able to collect the bag better.
Thank you. You know, one of the core things that we want people to understand on this panel is that we're not only giving you some free game on how influencers can become small business owners, right? Because a lot of people start off with just content creation and then it turns into a business. We are really trying to help you all understand that as small business owners, you must be influencers, right? So how do you all use the power of influence to amplify your particular businesses?
So, with Success is My Cologne, like I just always grew up like collecting cologne. That's really where the name came from. So I thought about, I thought about winning. I thought about what that smells like. What does winning embody? And I started putting myself in places that, where winners are. I think it's important to, every time we step into places, be intentional. So that means going up to somebody you might have saw on LinkedIn. That means going up to some of these people that you might have heard of and, sparking genuine conversation. So yeah, just being super intentional.
Anybody else want to answer?
I can chime in. So for me, I was able to take a skill that I was exceptionally good at and be able to make it something that people could consume on the internet. And I think when people started to realize, hey, this is a skill set or something that I seek, I was really able to create that connection with them and realize that with this connection, based on my skill and the audience's need, I can turn that into a business. I can market that. I can monetize that. So it really was about figuring out what I was good at and being able to let strangers on the internet know, hey, you should come to me for this because I'm the best. So that's kind of how I did it.
One of the things that you all talked about that really struck me between all the questions we've asked so far is really being aligned with your customers and really being aligned with the people that you're working with, the partnerships that you want to have, but also understanding that if you have a skill, anybody here that has a skill, I don't care if you make candles and you have a candle business, you can turn that into influencing other people about different candles that are good. I know someone that literally reviews candles for a living. Right, and I love candles, so I'm always going to use that as an example. And so definitely start thinking about what are some of those hard skills that you have. Right, I don't care if you are a biomedical engineer. There are other biomedical engineers who want people to talk about the work and who want to consume information about the work that they're doing. Right, maybe you're a biomedical engineer that loves fashion. I don't know. Mix all of them into two, and you literally can influence others to make those decisions. My other question is, as a marketer, I teach marketing at a university, and I hear this a lot, and I believe influencer relationships, they're not just one-off things, right? So you all have built relationships with the brands you work with, but also your customers. How has your work created impact for the businesses that you work with?
I would say for me, working with a lot of businesses, especially in Boston, especially there's so many Black businesses coming up now. I mean, you have all these amazing restaurants, you have these stores where people would never know about them if we didn't talk about it. And I feel like we're definitely in a space now, especially we're in a digital era where we have this space where we can go and tell people, hey, you should go to this restaurant. They have amazing food. You should be giving your money to them. And a lot of people don't understand, Black dollars go far. Like, we're willing to spend our money if it's good, if you provide great service. So I think a lot of these businesses, they can use influencers, they can use creators, because people not only do they listen to us, but because they listen to us, we're going to give them business as well. And it comes a full 360 because for us, it also gives us business because they're going to tell other people about it. It's like, hey, I worked with Savannah and she gave me, like 300 people came to my restaurant just off of seeing what, she's posted. I know there's a lot of times I see Claudine's work and I'm like, I need to go there. Like, I need to go to this place. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, can't get a reservation. So I feel like that's where a lot of business owners, they benefit off of, using us.
I can chime in here. So to me, it's all about ROI, return on investment, right? So I know how much I'm worth. And I think that's a very hard topic for a lot of people who want wannabe influencers to put a dollar amount to what you're going to do for a certain brand deal or how much you're going to charge for a service. You have to learn very quickly to stop being confused about that and define it. If you don't define it, there's always going to be money left over on the table. So I've placed myself in a position of authority in my niche, and if you come to me and you want my services, this is how much it costs. I'm not negotiating, this is how much it costs. If it doesn't work for you, then tell me what you have, and I will give you less until we meet that value, or we don't work together at all. I strongly urge you to not devalue yourself when you're starting out. Honestly, I would say to add a few more dollars to what you would be fine with, so that you never have to be in a position where you're trying to, where working with a brand matters to you more than getting paid your worth.
You know, one of the things that you said that struck me was about not leaving money on the table. And I feel like every day I wake up, I'm like, I'm leaving money on the table somewhere. Some money. I don't know what's going on. I feel like a lot of us experience that. And so I want to ask you all about what you feel about this statement, right? Because I think the internet is where culture unfolds, right? It's where things are talked about. How do you feel about this statement? You don't really have a brand if you don't own your own digital real estate.
You kind of struck a nerve. Bro.
Yeah, I guess you did.
I can't really agree with that. Because you can have a brand. What's a brand? You are the brand. You can walk around. Your brand might just be that, you give terrible service, but that's the brand that you're known for. So do you really need to be known online to carry that brand with you? No, you don't. So essentially, if you switch it up to the positive side, if you have a great brand and you're known for this, a lot of hole-in-the-wall restaurants, they don't have any digital real estate, but everybody knows to go to them from this time to this time. We think about places in Roxbury like Ideals, from a certain time, they're shut down. Till like 1 o'clock, you can't get anything. And so I think depending on how, your brand is, and I think the morale that your customers have, and, how you service them, and, essentially the connections you've built, you don't really need a digital real estate. However, it would behoove you to do such.
Yeah, I would agree with her. Working from a marketing perspective, you got to think about, back then, people were either sending out mailers, they were sending out flyers, some people were going door to door. So I feel like the digital space really has just come about within the past few years, if you really think about it. And word of mouth goes very far. Think about how many people you have talked to who you've been able to build a connection with, and you've been able to either get a job and you might not have had a business card, or you've been able to make a connection for, let's say, a catering company. So I feel like having a digital, space is important. I do tell people that, but also I feel like it's those relationships, those one-off relationships that you make with people and speaking to people, and word of mouth I still feel like is #1 in radio. You might not know that, but radio is like a huge marketplace.
I want to just make a point that I feel like hasn't been touched yet on that. I think digital real estate and having a digital footprint is absolutely crucial in building an audience, right? But I want everyone to remember that Instagram, TikTok, YouTube can shut down tomorrow. So if all of that shuts down tomorrow, how can you still make money? So you need to set yourself up. If you've built that digital footprint, that digital real estate, whatever you want to call it, built that audience, all of social media disappears tomorrow. How are you still getting in contact with your audience? So I have an extensive mailing list. I have a website. I have a virtual bartending business. People talk about me word of mouth. So I'm still going to exist if the internet shuts down social media. So I think digital real estate will never hurt you, but you also need to make kind of an imprint or real estate elsewhere.
Yes. All right, we always talk about physical real estate and things of that nature, but I think digital real estate is really making its way around in the culture, because I literally have a client who passed away, and we literally cannot get access to any of her accounts, any of her digital products, and those are things that could literally feed her family. And so it's very important that the same way we protect our real estate, protect your digital real estate, especially when you're using it for business. And so I think that's part of that too. But all of that doesn't matter if you're not a good person, right? It doesn't matter, all of that doesn't matter if you don't have, real relationships in real life. In the digital world, we call that IRL, right? And so what are some of the lessons in your journey that you've learned as an influencer, as a tastemaker, as someone who literally gives people direction on what they should buy, what they should do, where they should be going? What are some of the pitfalls and gaps that you experienced throughout this journey?
I would say to always be kind. I mean, that's just me in general. I'm a very friendly, outgoing person, but always be kind because you just never know where that relationship can lead you to down the line. Also, it's not easy. Like I said, it's not easy. And being an influencer, content creator, it's not easy, especially if you work 9 to 5. So just never give up on yourself, just keep going. Just know there's gonna be bumpy roads. You might have a deadline that's due tomorrow. Try to get it done, just be kind to these brands. Make sure they're being kind to you. Make sure they're paying you your worth, which is important, especially as a creator of color, because a lot of times we are underrepresented and underpaid in this space. So, you need to make sure that you're standing up for yourself and making sure that these brands know who you are and make a name for yourself.
I think one lesson that's really stuck with me over this period of time is to, never let feeling like you're not good enough keep you from getting started or trying something new. I know a lot of times, well, I can only speak for myself, like I have been my biggest critic, my worst enemy sometimes, where, you second guess and, sometimes I'm a person, I have so much confidence, but sometimes when that confidence is running low, and I need to recharge, there's a saying that the idle mind is the devil's playground. And so a lot of times when we find ourselves not being as productive as usually we are, ideas can pop in, Our diet is what we consume on the internet as well, so sometimes that has an effect on us. And so just making sure that, we understand the mission. We understand why we do what we do. We understand the people that we, service, and why we're here. So just never letting feeling like you're not good enough keep you from getting started on something.
Yes, I remember a time when I was, just talking about myself. Her was like, girl, you don't talk, what's wrong with you? Sometimes we need that person. Yeah, look your chest out. Sometimes we need that person in our corner, and sometimes that person has to be us. Right? I love her, but I need me to be able to feel that way about myself. And people spend with those who are confident, those who are able to speak up. And I always, would tell my people, I'm the best kept secret, but there's no honor in being anybody's best kept secret. If you have something in this room that can help someone else in this room, talk about it, speak about it, because the things that these panelists do has a purpose in people's lives. This is not just for fun and fashion and to look good. There are people like her that help me, right? For real, right? Because when you dress better, you feel better, do better, right? You know what I'm saying? I always want to look my best when I see Cardi Ann's content and try out a new drink. And, I work with a lot of business owners who, are looking for drinks to make for their events. You'll probably reach out to her. And Vonna, you already know I love Vonna and the fashion stuff. And so, we use inspiration from that. All of these things is not just for consumption purposes. All of these things are to better our lives and help us build Black wealth, right? And so, I want to ask you, Vonna, because you talked a little bit about tools. What tools do you all need to be an influencer? And what type of tools do you use? Literally, what platforms are you on? I want people to be able to go home today with some gems that they can go home with.
I'm on everything, honestly. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, all the social media tools. I'm on TikTok, but me and TikTok have a loving relationship. But if you really do have something that you're passionate about and you want to get out there, start with your phone. We all have a phone. We're all on our phone every day. A lot of us have an iPhone, Android. Use it. You don't have to start off with this, fancy Sony camera. Of course, yeah, you can build to that, but use your phone. Use a tripod. Prop your phone up on something. There's been plenty of times where I've created content if I'm, traveling and pop my phone up on, like a ledge or something like that. You really don't need much in order to start. I would also say talk to someone, and getting like a good elevator pitch, you want to be able to pitch yourself to these brands as well. Let's say, for me, for instance, I love sneakers. I want to be able to pitch myself to these sneaker brands like, hey, you know what? I just brought these sneakers. A lot of people ask me about it. You want to be able to show that you can turn, like Claudia said, an investment for them. So I would say, you know, an elevator pitch, have something that you can create content on, whether it's your phone, and most of all, just confidence, just go, because if you don't put it out there, days are just going to pass and you'll never be able, you know, to go out there and create it. So just do it.
I really like that you mentioned pitching, Vonna. I love PowerPoint, and a lot of times, you know, when I pitch to these brands, it's through PowerPoint. Like I'm able to show them, like, you know, how I'm going to increase effectiveness, how I'm going to add value to their brand. You know, what are my impressions? You know, I love Canva. Canva is one of my favorite tools, and I'm able to just show things that the back office is going to ask. So even if they don't ask, I'm going to show you what my audience age is, you know what I mean? And just put it there in a tasteful way, and I'm also going to show you different brands that I've worked for, you know, some of your competitors that you kind of have beef with. And I'm going to show you like, hey, if you bring me on board, I can do this for you too. So yeah, just finding tasteful ways that are genuine to you, and that's appealing to someone you don't know, you know?
So it sounds like when you're pitching brands, as a small business owner as well, not just as an influencer, as a small business owner, you can also collaborate and do influencing on your own. So it sounds like in this pitch deck that we're creating, we're talking about who we are, we're talking about our mission, we're talking about our demographics, who we're trying to reach, who we're aligned with, we're talking about our results, right? There's a return on investment, and we're also talking about what we can do for the businesses and these brands that we're trying to partner with, organizations. And know that you don't only have to partner with big brands. I can send any one of these panelists a pitch deck to work with them, right? Because they have their own businesses and brands as well outside of influencing. So understand that concept as well. I want to leave our last few minutes for questions from our audience. But before we do that, I would love for you all to just give us some last gems, some last take-home thoughts.
I'll start. My biggest thing when people come to me and say, how can I be an influencer? How can I be a content creator? How can I gain an audience and make sales? You're not gonna like this, but I always ask you why. And if you can't answer why, you're not ready. Because so back to the conversation about tools really quickly, I think what people need to realize is, yeah, there are technical tools like software and the actual social media platform in your phone, but if you think broader, the biggest tool in your back pocket is your audience and your supporters and your customers. And you need to start thinking of them as a tool if generating income is what you want. So you have to build up that tool yourself. You can't just buy that tool. So really take the time to create your own community online, because that is the community that is going to get you to sign those contracts, get you to sign those deals. So that's my gem.
One last thought before we answer our questions. If you're a small business owner, I'm a small business advocate, so I always have to make sure my small business owners get this. Understand, who's your biggest influencer? Raise your hand if you know. Yeah, you. Okay, who else? What else? Who's the biggest influencer on the internet? You can't pay these people enough.
Beyond myself would be my brother.
Your brother. Yeah. But you know what? I can't really
The
see.
DJ that I had employed on the station.
So notice how all these people mentioned the people around them, your customers, your friends, your family, the people who are on the internet that actually buy from you. Those are the biggest influencers. So make sure that you're leveraging their reviews and their testimonials to let other people know that they can trust you to spend their money with. All right. So I want to leave it up to questions. I think somebody already quickly raised their hand right there.
I use microphones because there are deaf and hard of hearing people here at the conference, and we're patched into assistive listening devices. So that's why I use a microphone. The question is about integrity. There are probably going to be sponsors that will try to align with you because they're not reaching a certain audience, but their values don't align with yours. Do you have any stories or insight about the folks you said, no, I'm not with you. I'm not going to do this with you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I can answer that. Whenever a brand reaches out to me and I see the email, the first thing I do is not email them back. I go on Google, I research them, I check their social media trail, and then I'm like, okay, I can work with you, this works. I always ask you to send me the product before I ever sign a contract. Because if I think something tastes disgusting, I'm not going to take my time to try to make it taste good, to have tens of thousands of people potentially go out and buy it. Because at the end of the day, if I do that, it's not the brand that's on the line, it's my reputation, my integrity that's on the line, and that to me is way more valuable than any contract.
Yeah, I agree with that. When I have brands reach out to me, I always try to make sure, like Claudia said, I'm looking at the feed because are you coming after me because you're trying to reach a certain niche? I'm a woman of color, I'm plus size, so do you have people that look like me on your feed? If you don't have people that look like me on your feed, I'm not going to work with you because for me, you're not really catering to me. You just want the dollars from my followers, from the people that I've built a connection with. So there's been plenty of times I can say all of us have probably said no to, brands or collaborations that don't align with our values and our views because that's really important. Because people know, what's fake and what's real when we're presenting it to them.
I have a question. So overall, I know there's a lot of introverts or people who are trying to find balance with social media and being personal and, not getting dragged into the negativity of social media, even though we can use it for the highest good. So I guess what are some tools and tips for that? And how do you actually reach out in a networking environment in regards to sponsorship as well?
I will let you know, even though I'm on this panel with the most charisma and just seem like I'm a very talkative people person. If you catch me in the hallway, I'll be by myself, probably on my phone, chilling, unless I know you. So I don't want to tell you that it's not impossible, right? So you have to really understand that there's a community out there for you. You just haven't found it yet, and you haven't reached them. So, and that's just, I think maybe the introversion or the self-doubt might be what's holding you back. But it's kind of like to what Herb said earlier, post it, put it out there. Somebody will find you. It may be cringe at first, because trust me, when I was trying to make drinks look pretty on the internet 5 years ago, versus if you see a video of mine now, it looks like two different people created this content, right? You have to put it out there. You have to know that your community will find you, but they're not going to find you if you're scared to post on the internet because of what people think about you. Because I don't care what the girls and the guys I went to high school with care about me at all. They still follow me. I see the views, I see the likes, but my community cares about me a lot, and I care about them, and that's who I'm creating content.
So put yourself on, maybe. All right, so we're gonna have one more question, and then Herman, what you have.
Well, since we're speaking about social media, I just want to know, how do y'all overcome the negatives about social media? Because I've seen in a lot of times that a lot of people actually step away from it because the negative overweighs the positive that comes with it.
That's a great question. In regards to negatives in social media, one thing I will say, meditation helps a lot. My community of people is so sure of themselves that nothing people could ever say to me could ever stick. What's that saying? I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever, like that type of thing, And you have to understand also, a lot of these people are going through hurt. A lot of these people are mad that they're not in your position. A lot of these people are mad that they can't even bring themselves to step out of the darkness to do what you do. And so it's not from a place of hate, it's just a place of resentment. And so, to a degree, I feel for you, but get to this bag, man. You know what I mean? So that's all.
Please give it up for our amazing panelists today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. If you want to work with them, if you want to work with any of them, please stay behind, connect with them, follow them, because price went up. I'll tell you that much. I'm a marketer. I'm trying to book influencers, and I'm like, whoo, I don't got it. So definitely make sure you connect with all of our panelists today. I love spending time with you all. Have a great rest of the Building Black Wealth Summit.